Thank you to my Patreon supporters. A double shout out thank you to Xavier Zamora, Victor, Troy Smothers, and 1010 Buns for being higher level patrons. If you'd like to join that, show your support for my channel. For as little as $1 a month, you can join that. There's a link in the description. Also, thank you to my YouTube members. There's a join button down below if you'd like to join that. Please keep in mind that I'm not a financial advisor. Everything I'm sharing is my own opinion. It's my own research. I highly encourage you to go do your own research. And with that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into this. So SafeMoon's price action, we can see on an hourly time frame, we are going down just a tad bit here, going from a higher position recently at 1921. That was back on February 1st, so a couple days ago, over to where we are right now, and we're hanging out here at 1778. It's like the birth of a new nation all over again. Hopefully most of you guys got what I just did there. So anyways, what we have going on here right now is it's still fitting within this kind of channel, a little bit up and down, up and down, up and down, waiting for a decisive move to make a breakout, right? Technically, this line has been dropped down just a tad bit here since the last couple hours. We could have seen it up on top right there. Slight discrepancy. So if it was within this formation, it is starting to do a further decline. I'll pull up the Fibonacci sequence to show to you guys what that looks like here in just a minute as well. But because of this being so close to this bottom line right here, we're actually kind of creating two instances, and that showed a little bit of a bounce off, a little bit of a rejection, right? Hit that level, started to climb back up. So that line is holding pretty well. And what we needed to keep in mind too is that once again, Bitcoin was starting to make a rally and then it started to get pulled back a bit. So it's been rough waters. Bitcoin's at $37,400 and we had a previous all-time high of $69,000. That's $32,000 approximately of room that it could still go up. Almost 50% more up from here. So it's taken a huge hit, but it's kind of lingering here for quite a while too, which is surprising. So that pulls down a lot of the market. Okay. As this is, if we use this as a bottom level support, realistically, we're looking for some sort of a decision that should be made for significant volume move, breakout pushing up, or it's going to fall down below by around February 8th. I would be very surprised if it did just kind of linger on a lot more, unless the whole market goes completely quiet, which it might. Stock markets are struggling, especially like Facebook, for example, a tech giant. It's taken a massive hit. So let's go ahead and pull up the Fibonacci sequence here. And what we're going to do is a Fibonacci retracement. There we go. And as we zoom in on this, what you guys can see is that we are actually still holding within the same channel. This is between the 1 and the 0.786 on the Fibonacci sequence. So this whole little gray zone space is where Bitcoin's just cruising along. And at some point, again, it needs to make a decision. Got rejected back over here. We're seeing it not actually touch this bottom line, so definitely keep an eye on that. Should show some support for the dropout below that. There's not much more that it can really drop. Historically speaking, it could drop more, but we just don't have much records because this is SafeMoon version 2. So I'd be looking at a base level support around 1658 and then seeing how things test against that. But because it's support, there's a better chance that you'll see it get rejected as things typically start to look like they're oversold. And the opportunity here, if it starts to make a climb up, we'd be looking right around 1900. If it can break above that, then you got the Fibonacci next level at 1952. 2000 for sure is a psychological level. And then starting to make another climb up to like 2177 and so on. So I typically use a lot of the same technical indicators. We're looking at an issue here because we don't have a lot of date history. It's not like I can really pull out a ton of other tools. But I feel that these ones are still proving to be quite reliable. These are some of my strong preferences on this. As it is, we need to be concerned because we are hanging out right around this bottom level of support, right? We are much closer to that than we are at the top level of resistance. And you break through those levels, guys, you're more psychologically inclined to have other people that are going to follow that trend. So, as it is, I'm leaning a bit more bearish. We've had some good news coming out. I'm hoping that it's leading to something significant. That's based on looking at the technical indicators. But when we go back, I know some people are going to be like, oh, you're covering your tracks and all this. I'm just being totally real with you. Looking at the technical indicators, it is much more dangerous. It's looking much more on the bearish side because of where we are right now. Looking at the bigger picture, lots of little players, lots of moves, smaller players getting brought on board for SafeMoon swap. And it's starting to happen like this. Over on Twitter, they said, hey, we're just starting this month. Like, things are just heating up. That suggests to me that they're getting ready to start pumping out a bunch more of these tokens. The more they get listed on SafeMoon Swap, guess what? Every time they use SafeMoon Swap as holders to make these trades, these swaps over, there's a 0.25% transaction fee, and that helps the SafeMoon ecosystem. So next thing I want to go ahead and point out to you guys, looking at the daily volume. Daily volume by the last 24-hour standard is down 1.57%. Very little, but we're talking $2.4 million. We've been hanging out around $1 to $3 million. So amount of reflections and things that you guys are getting, you're going to see that that's been fairly low. The lower price that we go for the actual SafeMoon itself, in reality, you could be getting more reflections. So if you see the daily volume is, let's say, 2.4 million, well, the amount of reflections, the amount of SafeMoon being traded in that volume, not the dollar value, but the number of SafeMoon. If SafeMoon went down lower and it was the same amount of daily dollar value, guess what? There's more that's been traded, and that means you've earned more in reflections. So there's a blessing that comes in with the fact that we're so low. I'm with you guys on this. I want SafeMoon to go to the moon. I want the prices to go absolutely parabolic. These things right here that we're looking at on the charts, it raises some issues for sure, okay? But we got a lot of other things that are coming out. So the last thing is that I want to touch on here is what was being shown for the whale movement. This is a manual liquidity transfer. This manual, okay? This comes from an account that had 10.24 billion SafeMoon. Put that in perspective, if you remember version 1, that'd be 10 trillion SafeMoon. That is a heck of a lot of SafeMoon, and there's very little wallet addresses that still exist that's anything close to that. The amount that was transferred was 3 billion. So 10.24 billion, they took almost like a third of that liquidity and they moved it over. And the weekly amount was 3.24 billion. So they did 3 billion in one move, which is valued at current market value $5.6 million. What do I think this is for? I think that this is for potentially either Mandala or Binance. Now, they share liquidity, remember? The Binance Cloud. So with this going over there, this amount that we have based on the amount of liquidity that's just there, $5.6 million is quite substantial. And with transactions taking place, in reality, you should be seeing more that's being fed into the liquidity. Because remember, out of the 10% transaction fees, you have a portion of that does go to show support for liquidity. And depending on how the exchanges are handling this money, handling the SafeMoon, I should rather say, there's a good chance that internally they still have functions that are accounting for that. And they're paying out the reflection rewards, and they have that 10% fee or whatever it is that they're doing. And a portion is going over and showing support for liquidity. So let me ask you guys, tell me in your opinion, do you think $5.6 million worth is enough liquidity for just Mandala? Or do you think that that's too much for Mandala, and this is something that's saying, hey, this is for Mandala and Binance? I'd be surprised if this was for something else. Maybe it is, but we know Mandala has already announced that they're getting ready to list SafeMoon, that they're going to be listing SafeMoon. So I think it's right around the corner. They just talked about that they're doing this SafeMoon spinoff and everything, right? So how can people participate in that if they can't actually buy the SafeMoon? Here's a huge liquidity move. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. I wouldn't be surprised if this is preparing for Binance too. Honestly, I have referral links in the description. If you want to get free crypto or free stock, feel free to check those out. And if you're new to the channel, do not forget to hit subscribe. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. So we could use your support. Click the thumbs up like button. It definitely helps us out with the YouTube search algorithm. Click the bell icon so you know whenever we go live. God bless, and I will see you in the next episode.